What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Niners News here on 49ers Hive. My name is Zach Hernandez, and as always, I am joined by my co-host, Matt Llewellyn. And today we're going to be ranking our third-ranked quarterback of the incoming draft class. Yesterday, we had our fourth-ranked. Matt had Justin Fields. I had Trey Lance. Who do you have number 3 overall?
Well, it was tough. I think I oscillated back and forth on Justin Fields and Trey Lance for a while. And I will tell you that I oscillated back and forth on Trey Lance and Zach Wilson for a while too. And for reasons that we'll get into, but my third-ranked quarterback is going to be Trey Lance from North Dakota. It's just it's something about a small school guy that was already concerning without him skipping essentially the entire season through no fault of his own, of course. But with those small school guys, his 2019 tape, he definitely played fantastically. He did exactly what you want from a small school guy. When you're talking about the top of the top talent, when they play at a small school, when they play against lesser talent, the one thing that you want to see is domination. And that's something that I definitely saw from him. He's an elite level athlete. He has a fantastic arm. He can throw it from all slots. He can feather his throws. He can fire it in there. He has a beautiful deep ball. He has everything that you want to see, right? It's just level of comp. That's the one thing. And we didn't get to see him improve year over year. It would have been a wonderful thing to be able to see him in 2020 to compare to 2019. And as it is, we're comparing 18-month-old tape, 2-year-old tape to try to figure out what kind of guy that he's going to be going forward. I know that he stayed in shape during this past season, even though North Dakota State didn't play. But I do think that it's something to consider when you're talking about Trey Lance. You don't get that same level of scrutiny, the same ability to break down his game and really look and see, hey, did he improve year over year that you have with some of these other guys? Zach Wilson in particular, people talk about Zach Wilson wasn't anything special as a sophomore. Well, he darn sure was as a junior. This past year was great for him. And those are the type of things that you want to see. You want to be able to analyze the tape to say, oh, is it scheme? Is it something else? Is it surrounding talent? Or did the guy just get better? And without that, it makes it hard to evaluate Trey Lance in those, intangibles and the improvement aspect of his game. But the physical tools are there on tape. I mean, the ball immediately jumps off his hand. It looks like an NFL quarterback's arm. He looks like a guy that's going to be special. And if you can get over some of the other issues that, come with the territory of being a small school guy who didn't play, then, he's definitely a guy that you can hitch your wagon to. And if the 49ers are going to let it rock with Jimmy one more year and Trey Lance is there at 12, I don't see why they wouldn't take him. To me, it would be a no-brainer. Unfortunately, the way this draft is shaking out, I don't think Trey Lance gets there. If any of the quarterbacks, like I said, Justin Fields is the one that looks to me like he's going to fall. So if anyone was going to get there, I think it would be him. But I would much prefer Trey Lance. And as we talked about with my number 5 pick, Mac Jones, being the guy that's either 1A or 1B for the 49ers, I think they actually like Trey Lance almost as much. He would be like the 1C. So, for me, it would be like the kid they obviously would want the most would be Zach Wilson. I just think he fits so well with what they try to do. 2 would be Mac Jones, and then 3, this would be Trey Lance. So he's right up there with something that I think Kyle Shanahan could think that he could work with. And because he's so young and seemingly inexperienced at the position, you get to mold him however you want. He's somewhat of a blank slate. You don't have to teach out bad habits. He's shown that he can dominate, lower level talent. And so hopefully if you can nourish that in a talent and kind of hone those skills, you can bring him up to where he could be dominant in the NFL too. So for me, again, I went back and forth between him and Zach Wilson too, which we will get into in the next episode. But, basically for the reasons that I stated, I had to drop him to number 3. If I would have seen more out of him, he very well could have been the second best guy in this class. To me, the issue with the 49ers is anybody expecting, another Super Bowl run if everybody stays healthy, I think that's a little ambitious. This roster is going to have a huge amount of turnover, and we don't know how they're going to turn out. So to me, it's going to be one of those things where it might take a year or two, and why not do it with a rookie quarterback that you have 4 to 5 years of salary control on?
Yep. For me, I had him ranked 4, but like you said, it's so iffy, the line between kind of anybody else under 1. For me, though, it's Justin Fields. My number 3rd ranked quarterback in this year's draft class is Justin Fields. I would say he's he's a little less athletic than Trey Lance, and maybe as an overall package, Trey Lance just looks like a beast. I mean, he's taller, he's stronger, but Justin Fields as a whole is still a really, really good package that I would.
Oh, yeah.
And his arm strength alone, which sometimes is a double-edged sword, because sometimes from what I saw, he was kind of fell in love with it a little too much, trusted his arm more so than his head, and he kind of was trying to fit balls in there, which we've seen a lot with Jimmy Garoppolo, who doesn't have the arm to do that. Justin Fields, more often than not, does have the arm to where he can do it, but it is a risk. His completion percentage for the 3 years, 2018, 2019, 2020, kind of stayed around 70%. I think it was 70, and then like 66.8, and then 69. That's solid. It is interesting that it went down, but he was throwing more. He threw the most in 2019, but he, consistently had really, really big plays. No matter what game it was, no matter if he's playing poorly, you could still count on him to have some really big plays, which I thought was really, really neat to see. I think paired with an offensive system like Kyle Shanahan would just go wonderfully for the 49ers. And not only that, but I think he's a really tremendous young man. I think he's a leader. I watched, and granted, I know how much of this is TV magic, but there was a TV show he was on when he was in high school, Behind the Lights or something like that, Under the Spotlight. And it was really cool to see him as a kid, as a 17, 18-year-old kid getting into Georgia. Even at the high school that he was at, he looked like a leader of the men around him, and everything that I've read about him at Georgia and now at Ohio State, they just rave about him and they love him. People are immediately willing, his teammates are immediately willing to go in and play for him, defend him. And he just completely energized the locker room from all reports that I was able to read about his transfer. So that's always something you want to see as well, because a rookie quarterback coming into an NFL locker room, that's not the easiest path to success as far as being respected in the locker room itself and earning that C on your chest. Justin Fields is one of the guys that I feel like could do that. Maybe not his rookie year, but by his sophomore year, definitely. But it also depends on what happens and where he lands. He's built to where he can withstand some of the hits that he takes. He took that really big hit in the I forget which one of the playoff championships.
I think it was the Sugar Bowl.
That's right. Yeah. And that was scary to see, but he still, for the most part, is stocky enough to kind of take those big hits. He's not going to get injured right away. I don't see the RG3 in him that a lot of people I've actually seen comparisons to. I don't really see that at all. To me, he's more of if like Dak Prescott and Kyler Murray had a baby, that's kind of what I see in Justin Fields. And I think that the 49ers, I would put my number 3, my number 2, who I'm not going to say, I'm sure you can all imagine, Justin Fields, and then Trey Lance, as far as who they want, who fits the best into their system. Hopefully they don't pull some weird thing like they do. And Kyle Shanahan had, Kyle Trask ranked number 1 this whole time, which we could totally see. But
yeah,
Justin Fields is number 3 for me.
Now, so I didn't want to make the Dak Prescott comparison, by the way, because I thought about it for a second with Justin Fields, and I was like, I feel like that's kind of lazy. I don't want to make that one. But I do like the Dak Prescott, Kyler Murray baby thing. That makes more sense to me. He's definitely not RG3, though. I think that more so than RG3, he looks to throw first rather than run first, which I think was RG3's thing.
Yep.
But that hit in the Sugar Bowl does expose something that I was talking about when I talked about Justin Fields yesterday, and that's the lack of the internal clock. I feel like he's a guy that will open himself up to hits. One, because he sometimes plays like he's a tough guy. And, that, again, we saw that with certain guys where we're just like, dude, it's okay to slide. Like, you're good. You don't have to always go heads up with everybody. And I just think that is one of the things. But what was it that really edged out Justin Fields over Trey Lance for you?
Again, I'm trying to stay consistent here. Level of competition, the fact that he was able to put it consistently on tape for every year that he played, he got better. And I just feel like overall, I actually like his accuracy a little more than Trey Lance. Trey Lance, I think, has the better arm, although they're both fantastic deep throwers. And I think just no moment really was too big for him for the most part. I really like Justin Fields as far as the two, but what put Trey Lance over him for you?
I just think that Trey Lance has higher upside. When all things are said and done, I think that Justin Fields is closer to a finished product than what Trey Lance is. And I think that with the right coaching system, the right coaching staff, players around him, I think that Trey Lance can really be elevated to something special. Trey Lance reminds me a little bit of I don't know if I did a pro comp for Trey Lance. I don't think that I did. But to me, he's like a more accurate version of what Josh Allen was coming out of college. Okay. Really high level athletes, really good arm. I don't think his arm is as good as Josh Allen because I think Josh Allen's arm is ridiculous. I think Josh Allen actually has the strongest arm in the NFL. But it's up there. It's going to be a top 5, top 10 arm in the NFL. You don't have to worry about him making any of the throws. I just think that his ability to layer the ball is better than what Josh Allen's was coming out of Wyoming. And so, I just think that with a good coaching staff, and we saw it with Sean McDermott and Buffalo and surrounding him with talent, Josh Allen made a major leap this year. And I think that Trey Lance in 2 years could be that guy that takes that really generational leap and becomes a perennial Pro Bowl guy. Whereas Justin Fields, I think day one could be a solid starter for you, but how high can he really go? If he caps out at Dak Prescott, that's good, but is it necessarily as good as what Trey Lance can be? And to me, I don't think that that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. And I totally do see that. And I would agree with you. I think Trey Lance has the higher upside. I think Justin Fields is the higher floor. So I guess it just depends. Are you willing to risk it on a player like Trey Lance and trust your own ability as a coaching staff to develop him into a better product overall?
Yeah, I think it comes down to the immortal words of Bruce Arians: "No risk it, no biscuit." So for me, Trey Lance has got to be the guy.
All right, guys. I think that's going to do it for today's episode of Niners News. If you like what you see, do us a solid. Hit that subscribe button below. Help us reach our goal of 2,000 subscribers so we can give away some 49ers jerseys. If you like this video, hit the like button as well and drop a comment. Who is your third-ranked incoming rookie quarterback?
And go ahead and click the bell for notifications. We're bringing you new videos each weekday. Thank you, as always, for joining us. And as always, until next time, go Niners.